Financial accounting, we're talking about financial performance, specifically the liquidity ratios, and in particular, those that have to do with accounts payable. How fast do we pay our bills? So the first one we want to do is accounts payable turnover. In other words, how quickly are you paying your bills, or how many times a year do you pay your bills? We're using short exercise 6 again, and for it, you'll recall that the accounts payable turnover is the cost of the goods sold plus or minus the change in inventory, depending on whether the change went up or went down. So in this case, a cost of goods sold was $224,000. The change between the beginning and the end of the year was $4,000. The difference between $10,000 and $14,000. So inventory went up $4,000. So we're going to add it, and we're going to divide it then by the average accounts payable. And you remember, whenever we do an average, it's beginning of the year plus end of the year, divide by 2. So 24,000 plus 20,000 divided by 2. So the accounts payable turnover in X7 is 10.4 times. In other words, how many times a year did you sit down to write your bills? 10.4 times. If I did that ratio for the previous year, I would see that I only sat down 9.4 times in the previous year. So am I paying my bills more often now? Is that a good thing? Yeah. Now, since that really doesn't speak to me very well, I want to know, how long did those bills sit on my desk? In other words, how long did it take me to pay my bills? So that will be the days payable. And again, that's 365 days divided by the accounts payable turnover. So for X7, 365 days divided by 10.4 times says that I sit down to pay my bills about 35.2 days in between. So it takes me 35.2 days to pay my bills. I wish I could get away with that. So not even once a month do you sit down to pay your bills, do you? So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, that depends. One thing I would want to do is compare it to the previous year. And if I figure my days payable for X6, I see it's 39 days. So am I sitting down more often, or the time between when I receive a bill and when I pay a bill is getting shorter, isn't it? So that's a good thing. But I would also want to compare this to, what's my industry norm? What are my competitors doing? What do I expect of myself personally as far as paying these bills? So again, these ratios don't answer questions. They help you ask better questions, don't they?